and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Omogbe from our Lagos studio in Nigeria. On the show tonight, we'll be talking about the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, the draw has been made, and the defending champions Manchester City and Juventus, they are in the same group. Inter Miami, players from Al-Ahly of Egypt who have an opportunity to actually play against Lionel Messi at the FIFA Club World Cup. Yes, it's his team. Inter Miami is one of those teams that are taking part in that 32 club tournament. Yes, it was 7 before, but it be expanded to 32 every 4 years instead of the yearly one where you have European champions and, of course, champions from all the continents in action. But right now, it's now different because FIFA have expanded it. So June, July next year, we will be having the FIFA Club World Cup in the USA. Also on the show tonight, yes, Chiamaka Nnadozie will be gunning for a double. Yes, one double, talking about the CAF Player of the Year for women, of course, and the goalkeeper of the year, because she has been nominated for the top 5. But Rasheedat Ajibade, she's not in the running for the 5 teams that were unveiled, the 5 players unveiled by CAF last night, talking about the African Women Player of the Year. So Chiamaka Nnadozie, she's in the running, but Barbara Banda, she's also in the running, and of course, younger sisters from Malawi, they are also in the running. So it's the top one in that top 5. Young Player of the Year, we also have a Nigerian there, Chiamaka, yes, another Chiamaka Okuchukwu of Rivers Angels. She was at the Under-20 Women's World Cup earlier in the year. She's also in the running for the Young Player of the Year. Club of the Year, you have Edo Queens making that. Of course, Coach of the Year for women, you have Coach Christopher Danjuma. He's in the running for that. National Team of the Year, Super Falcons also in the running for that. So there's a whole lot to expect when the CAF Awards is done on the 16th in Morocco, Marrakech, precisely. That's where it will be taking place. And of course, yes, we'll talk about the Premier League. Manchester City, after a long while, the 7 games winless run, they finally snapped that ski. They've been on for a while now. Yes, beating Nottingham Forest 3 goals to nothing. Of course, the regular players are scoring again. And for Manchester United, well, the winning run, how many was it? It's just over. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4. It's over because Arsenal had to, corner kings, right? That's the right name for Arsenal right now, because we were able to end that winning run, that rather, how do I put it, unbeaten run that Manchester were on when Murray came on. That's a coach that hasn't lost since December last year, 2023. He hasn't lost a game, but that Mikel Arteta ensured that had come to an end. And for boxers planning to compete in LA Games in 2028, well, they have to look at a whole lot, because IOC is upon them. There's a whole lot to discuss on that on the show tonight. We'll be talking about boxing, what the federation needs to do to compete, because IBA, according to IOC, they will not be there. And of course, yes, we'll talk about athletics, track and field. What's going on with the Sebastian Coe and some other start-up track and field events that's coming up. He has something to say to those who want to, bring more tournament to it for athletes to compete, and of course, earn more money. Amnesty International, they're in the news again, and this is about what migrant workers are preparing for the 2034 Nations Cup right there in Saudi Arabia. It's a lot in the loaded package tonight on the show. But Onifade is right here with me in the studio. Austin will join me much later from London. Onifade Damilola, it's great to have you on the show.
It's good to be here on a night that African teams are finding their way among their peers in the world. Al-Ahly against Inter Miami. It's a good one. And hopefully the African clubs will represent us well.
That's what we're praying for, because, sometimes it can be really hard when you're playing against the very best in the world. But hey, let's start up with this one. Let's start up with, of course, our own. The CAF was top 5. Were you surprised by what you saw? The Rasheedat Ajibade don't make that top 5.
No, I wasn't surprised. I know I was here when we had the top 10. Yes. That to be in the top 10, I think it's a good enough reward for her. That is not to put down her performance, but I'm looking at the pool. And I think Barbara Branda had done more work. I think the Chawinga sisters, particularly the elderly one, forgetting Tabitha,
Tabitha, okay,
has done much better. And I also mentioned particularly that we picked Chiamaka ahead of Ajibade for Nigeria as well.
I can't listen to you.
I think looking at that pool, I think that, and in a way, I've just mentioned my top 3, by the way. In the 5, I think I just mentioned my top 3.
Tabitha, Barbara, and Chiamaka Nnadozie.
Yeah,
okay.
Those are
that's the top 3.
Yeah.
Young player of the year, you think Chiamaka Okuchukwu will make it, or we are having those Moroccans?
I think she should be in the last 3. I'm not sure she'll win. I'm not sure.
Final 3.
I know you will like that.
no, it's fine because we're talking based on what they've done. If for instance, Rivers Angels won the league this season and also went on the CAF Champions League, you will understand that. But we'll have to judge her from what she did on the 20 right there. I think Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Colombia, in Colombia. So, because I will have to look at that from that. I mean, she was fantastic in that tournament, but Nigeria did not really go far.
That's the point. Maybe Nigeria didn't go far, so that limits the pool for her in terms of assessment.
Assessments and everything. But if CAF is, because what CAF is looking at is from January to October, so they're not looking at December. So you see, the CAF Champions League is actually out.
It's out of it.
Okay.
He's out of it.
We'll see what they'll come up with, because there are some names in the Young Player of the Year that are still there. All right, let's just run through the names of the players we'll be talking about. So starting off with the top 5 shortlists for Player of the Year. Of course, we're discussing that of women this time around. So starting off with Tabitha Chawinga, of course, Olympic Leon Malawi. The good thing is, the difference is Malawi, when it comes to women's football, where are they? So you have to look out. So I think the focus might just be on those who went to the Olympics. And of course, Zambia, they were there. And one lady, she knows how to score goals. I mean, she's one of those that's been listed here. Tamwa Chawinga, that's a sister who plays for Kansas City. I mean, she is another player in contending for the Sana Masodi of Morocco, who plays for ASFAB. She's also nominated here. And Chiamaka Nnadozie, of course, the Paris FC goalkeeper. And Barbara Banda, Zambia, Orlando Pride. She helped her team to win their maiden title earlier this month, late November. But if you're looking at January to October, so that will be ruled out. For the goalkeeper of the year, you have Fedelin Ngoy of DR Congo, Tipe Manzembe, Habiba Sabri of Egypt FC Masab, Khadija Al-Ramij of AS Asfa of Morocco, Chiamaka Nnadozie, of course, Paris FC, and Adile Dlamini, South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns. So when looking at all this, this happens to be the only player outside Africa. The others are based in Africa, and by this judgment, it seems they're using the CAF Women's Champions League for that. But we know Mamelodi Sundowns are Africa champions of South African League. Of course, you also have ASFA Morocco, they are also champions. FC Massa of Egypt, they are also champions in their own right, followed by TP Manzambe. They're winning their country league, also going ahead to win at the regional level. So let's go to the Young Player of the Year, where you have Chiamaka Okuchukwu right there. Okay, before that, go to Coach of the Year, Lamin Bohandi. Of course, she won. She just won the title with TP Manzambe, talking about CAF Women's Champions League. Akman Ramanda of FC Massa, also a coach. Mohamed Amni Aliyu, ASFA coach, and Christopher Danjumon led the under-20 to the FIFA Women's World Cup on the 20 level. And of course, Mbila, that's the coach of University of the Western Cape Town. That's talking about Coach of the Year. Now we go to the Young Player of the Year. That Young Player of the Year, you also have Abiba Sabri. She is here. Played for FC Massa, Doha El Madani of ASFA of Morocco. Of course, Zelina Jamai, who plays for Paris Saint-Germain. She's a Moroccan. She's also listed here. And Chiamaka Okuchukwu, she's right here, Rivers Angels, Nigeria. And of course, Majia, South Africa, Mamelodi Sundowns. So these are the Young Player of the Year. And Interclub of the Year for women, you have Naguji of DR Congo, of course, CP Manzambe, Lacho, Flora Mata. Remember what she did with the Do Queens. I can still remember her running and errands and everything. Doha El Madani, she's also listed for Interclub Player of the Year. You have Khadija also listed, of course, Sani Masodi also listed. I believe these lists are coming out from what they did in their league earlier in the season. And also, you can add the CAF Champions League. If you look at the fact that, yes, CAF Women's Champions League was played in December. There you have the Inter Club of the year for women, Inter Club Player of the Year for women. Of course, you have the National Team of the Year where you have the Super Falcons of Nigeria. And of course, you also have the Club of the Year for women, TP Mazembe, FC Massa, Asfak Morocco, Edo Queens, and Mamelodi Sundowns. These are the Club of the Year. For National Team of the Year, of course, you have Cameroon on the 20 team listed here, Morocco listed, Nigeria listed, South Africa listed, and Zambia also listed for the National Team of the Year. Okay, there you have it. I mean, if you're going to take a look at these ones, I mean, we've mentioned some of the names that are here, and of course, some of the names that are supposed to be here, not here. You know, started with Rashida Ajibade. For the Coach of the Year, Christopher Danjuma, does he stand a chance at all?
It's a difficult one. I'm not sure, but I think to be nominated is enough credit. We have to just take that as it is, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I wish I can say that you will win.
Okay. We end it there. But if you look at what Chiamaka Nnadozie has done, as you mentioned earlier, I think maybe she is the one, in the running, top 3. You've said that.
And for the goalkeeper of the year, I think she's my top pick. I will be surprised
if she doesn't win that goalkeeper of the year. So she's getting that. But player of the year might just go to Barbara Banda.
She should. I mean, I said that about a few weeks ago. I'll be shocked if she doesn't get it. If she
doesn't get it, I think we'll stop following it.
Assistant is not here. That seems to be the only one that I've been stopping now.
Okay. Now, let's go to the FIFA Club World Cup. Of course, that is where we are going to. What FIFA is trying to do here. I mean, we were talking behind the scene before we came on set that when the FIFA Club World Cup started, there was a time where Sepp Blatter actually said it was a mistake. But now, you know, it's been expanded to have 32 clubs across the world. I mean, from Asia to Oceania to Africa to Europe, I mean, to the Americas, South America, anywhere you can, North America, everywhere you can think of. So you have clubs representative from all the continents, all the international federation of football across the world. So FIFA is building something here, and people have been complaining about players not having time to rest during summer. But Austin, I mean, the FIFA Club World Cup, yes, despite the complaints and everything, is upon us because the draw has been done.
Because everyone understands that, you know, we always talk about FIFA coming up with something new. FIFA cannot be sleeping on a bicycle when there's so much money to be made in football, you know. So all of these new formats, we know where FIFA is going. You know, yes, they will say, oh, we want inclusion. We want the small countries to have an opportunity to play football. But Cecilia, they're trying to let us know, particularly Africa, that there's a huge market for football, you know, and there's so much money to be made, and there's so much publicity to go around. So I think that's the reason why we're going to be seeing, you know, an expansion in the FIFA Club World Cup. Draw has been done. It felt for a minute, Cecilia, it felt like it was even a draw for the main World Cup, you know, just to tell you that FIFA isn't joking. This is the Club World Cup, and sometimes people don't even know what's going on with this competition. But guess what? Now, people will give attention because clubs will see it as not just an avenue to compete, but an avenue to also do business, because this is where this will become the new marketplace for clubs to meet, talk, finalize deals, and then, of course, for the players, get exposure, for scouts, for agents, parents, the media, the talents themselves. It's massive, you know. So with the group, with the draw already done, and people now understand the new format. This guy, Gianni Infantino, cannot just stop talking about the need to expand football and give it to different regions of the world just so people can feel the power of sports to transform lives, Cecilia.
As the power of sports, and of course, it's evolving everywhere. And before the draw was done, the talk was all about Messi. I mean, is FIFA trying to give the last dance to Lionel Messi? Because we're not sure if it's going to be at the next World Cup in LA. But with the kind of form he is in right now, barring no injury, I think we might see that guy, you know, in LA. But a quick one on this. So, I mean, you know, the FIFA opted to, you know, they usually, the host nation they have they reserve the right to have a team. And of course, FIFA opted to actually award that to Inter Miami. I mean, Inter Miami, remember, they won a regular season. I mean, they had a record. There's what they call the MLS Supporters Shield.
Yeah.
I mean, the best team of the regular season, gets to have that. And they won it. And they picked that best team, to win it. I mean, the MLS Cup final we play this Saturday. We know LA Galaxy is running for that, and of course New York is also running for that and everything. But could they have just waited? Or, I mean, was it because of Messi that Inter Miami was picked? Because I just wrap when they made that announcement on the day after that community, Infantino was there. It was in the US that period, surveying the stadium and everything. So I was like, is it because of Messi? Or is he afraid that they may not come in?
Obviously, it's because of Messi.
Because it's a bit...
Because as big as the FIFA Club World Cup is, the only person that is up to this point, maybe after tonight might change, across the world that seems to be excited about this tournament is FIFA. And
oh my goodness.
And FIFA has been struggling to sell it. And so they need somebody to be able to sell it. They need somebody to be able to sell it. Yeah. And I think that's where the pick comes in. And it's good because just yesterday, a major deal was signed for the broadcast right, even though it's a streaming platform. But I think that's just what it is. Without Messi at Inter Miami have no business being here.
Oh, okay. All right. Invitation was handed to him. All right. Take, you're the best. It's good to be the best in the world. We'll just run through the clubs. So you get to see the clubs that will be taking part at the FIFA Club World Cup for next year. I just wish, we had a team from Nigeria. But there you have it. We don't. So I'm going to start off with Group A. Yes, move over to Group A, where you have St. Polarius, FC Porto, Al Ahly of Egypt, Inter Miami. Yes, that's what I said, that they will have opportunity to play against Messi. You go to Group E, where you have a River Plate from Argentine club, Red Diamonds. You also have Montreal, and of course, Inter Milan. Then you go to Group B, Paris Saint-Germain, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, Seattle Sounders, and the next one, go to Group F. I think this is the group that people will be looking at because of these two sides. But you have a Seattle Sounders right here with them. Fluminense is here, Borussia Dortmund, Ulsan, and of course Mamelodi Sundowns. So these are the clubs from Group F. You go to Group C, where you have Bayern Munich, Auckland FC, City, Boca Juniors, and Benfica. So in Group G, you have Manchester City without Casablanca, Al Ahly, and Juventus in Group G. You go to Group D, where you have Flamengo, of course, Sporting de Tunisia, Chelsea is here, Club Leon is also here, and of course Group H, where you have Real Madrid, Al Hilal, Pachuca, and FC Salzburg. So these are the club for this. Here you have Juventus. I think Juventus in the Then you have Juventus at Manchester City group, where you have Salzburg right here for Group H. So these are the teams taking part in that. Austin, we've seen all the teams. 32 complete. Would have been happy if just maybe they had to look at clubs Champions League clubs participating in the Champions League, their best record in the past 4 years, and that's why you have clubs like Liverpool not really here. Of course, where's Arsenal? Not really here, but you have Chelsea and you have Manchester City because of the record in the past at Champions League in the past 4 years.
And the media in England, Cecilia, you won't believe it that they're saying, why do they have just City and Chelsea for the competition, because they believe that they've got, a lot of good teams, they've got standard teams that should, be out there and have more numbers so they can they can compete favorably. But shout out to FIFA. When you were reading out those teams, as I said, if you don't know that these are clubs, looking at the group, it looks like it's the World Cup itself, This is a competition that before, they just play over, I think sometimes 1 week. And, we don't even get to know about it till they play the final.
Yeah.
And who is going to win. But FIFA, they found a way to, now make it competitive. Look at that group that's got Manchester City and Juventus. That's like your UEFA Champions League group, So we're going to have fantastic, football with this new format in the FIFA Club World Cup. It's going to begin next year summer and run till July. So that will be a lot of football for us to talk about, something for fans to look forward to, the players find a way, to stay relevant. Clubs look at how they can make revenue out of it. And FIFA, be the king that sits on it, or to say, did I tell you that there's so much money to be made? And then they go on to make that money, Cecilia.
Yeah, they're making money. While they're talking about the FIFA Club World Cup, remember, Euros for women is also going on at that time. But of course, for Africa, the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, women also going on at that time. So summer next year, lots of football. So women's football and men's football will be competing. A difference is one is for clubs, the other for country. I don't even know how I'm going to divide myself. But of course, championing for Africa Women's Cup of Nations. But I don't know why Morocco decided to use that time. But that's what the time they have, because the men taking place in December. But overall, what's this going to bring for everyone? I mean, clubs have been complaining that you have too many players playing games, but now we have 32 clubs competing, and of course, they're going to be in one place. 12 sports available for European countries.
The thing about the complaint that I've been having is for me, is a bit hypocritical. You want more money, but you don't want to do more work. That's what it is.
You're so mean.
Well, you can take it that way, but that's what it is. Players are complaining, but they are not refusing the money. And at the end of the day, what comes from this competition is basically money, is marketing.
Okay.
A club wants to sign a kitting deal now. This competition adds to the opportunity to be able to even negotiate a bigger deal.
All right.
So it's either you take the money and you leave the job, or you don't take it at all.
He's mean, right, Austin? But we need to go on a break when we come back, because so much football to talk about on the show tonight. Staying with the FIFA, but this time around it has to do with the 2034 World Cup, whereby the Human Rights International, they've been talking about this for like forever. Remember when Qatar were going to host a note concerning the treatment of laborers, especially migrant workers. And this time, there's a whole lot going on, because according to reports, you have so many, about, I think there was a report about 6,500 migrant workers working on the World Cup project in Qatar actually died, So, but they said that wasn't it. But this time around now, why they're actually afraid is that they said you have about 2 million people, 2 million migrants workers in Qatar, a smaller country. But then in Saudi Arabia, that is bigger, you have 13.4 million people actually working there. So now, the problem now is on Wednesday, there was a report by Human Rights Watch released on Wednesday. They found out that about 884 Bangladeshi workers have died in Saudi Arabia in the last 6 months alone. So, and this is why this report is coming out. They're calling on FIFA to actually stop, the 2034 World Cup. Austin, we're going to start off with you in this one, because, when the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, when they start calling on FIFA, they did it, when Qatar was going to happen. But Qatar happened and nothing was done. But this time around, they're concerned with the health of the migrant workers, because according to the story was that most of them, building the stadium and other facilities, they died of the risk of organ failures as well as extreme heat. So that's where the concerns are coming from.
Yeah, Amnesty International, they're doing the job. They're ensuring that they look out for human rights and all of that. Cecilia, this isn't the first time they did it for the South Africa 2010 World Cup. They did it for the Brazil 2014 World Cup. There were always something to, look out there for people who are actually going to either be working during the World Cup, or if it's going to affect human rights in any way. Now with Qatar, remember, even when they were fighting Qatar, that look, so much migrant workers are dying and all of that. More migrants were getting into Qatar. Some people were saying, Amnesty International, what's your business? There is work for us here to do, and we want to get in here to work, so leave us alone. I think what Amnesty International is trying to do is let FIFA know that part of your bidding process, you should ensure that workers, everybody that will be part of this process towards the World Cup in 2034 are looked after properly. We don't want to come and people are saying, because they wanted cheap labor, we were used the wrong way, or there was no dignity in labor, which is fantastic. But Cecilia, there you go again. A lot of people who just want to, at that period, get into Saudi Arabia because of the job opportunities that they know will be afforded to them because of, the World Cup that's coming up. Everything that they said about Qatar Qatar made money. The competition itself, FIFA recorded the highest revenue ever. Countries came there, made good money. Sponsors were happy. So I think Amnesty International and FIFA need to sit down and find a way that they can both work together to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And I think that's what they are trying to do. They're trying to open up that conversation and say to FIFA, we know what's been going on with previous World Cup and the rest. Now we don't want this to happen again because the statistics doesn't look good and it doesn't speak well for FIFA and might eventually affect the brand of the World Cup.
Right, let's take a listen to them talking about this one, and Onifade will react to this.
Based on 2 years of research, over 150 interviews with current and former migrant workers and their families, Human Rights Watch has found in our report released today that migrant workers are facing widespread abuses in Saudi Arabia, some of which may amount to situations of forced labor. These abuses are occurring across employment sectors, across geographic regions, and including at high-profile so-called giga projects like NEOM that are funded by or linked to Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, the Public Investment Fund.
Saudi Arabia did not come close to meeting FIFA's own human rights requirements through the bidding process. It didn't identify the risks. It didn't show how it would address them, and didn't show how it would host a World Cup that would not be tarnished by exploitation, by discrimination, and by repression. And I maybe just add to that and say that it's not just the flaws in the 2034 process. We see similar flaws for the process for the 2030 World Cup as well, in how weak some of the human rights strategies were for Morocco, Portugal, and Spain. The risks are slightly less severe, but they are significant on a range of issues there. But the process has been as flawed for that as well. The Saudi Arabia was awarded a medium risk. And that it got such a high score we described it as an astonishing whitewash.
Whitewash. Is it FIFA really whitewashing Saudi Arabia's World Cup bid, really?
I think what they're just calling attention to is that FIFA has become a global organization, and that must see its responsibility beyond just organizing a competition every 4 years. The process of that competition, how it impacts human life, must also be looked at. And I think that's the call. And I totally agree with it. You can't just be FIFA. And people put up a bid and tell you, we'll build 10 stadiums in 5 months. And you take it. You have to look at the conditions through which those that will build that stadium have to work on that. Like you mentioned, there is heat, there is their health, there is insurance for them. You must ensure are they insured. There is also the part of under what condition are they working. FIFA must look at all that. And I don't think that is asking for too much. If indeed, FIFA must be socially responsible. It's not just about money. You can't just go to Saudi Arabia because the Saudi government would give money.
That was what most people.
It also must be important, the approach that the hand cannot just justify the means. The essence that leads to that hand also. And I think the solution is, in every bid document, there should be a human rights requirement embedded in that bid. FIFA must ensure that it's followed.
I think Saudi Arabia's was reduced. That's the point.
That's the point.
Not everything was that. That's what they are actually complaining about.
Exactly.
Why other countries are having
it.
Why Saudi Arabia? Well, FIFA, as Austin said, don't be concerned about money. Concerned about migrant workers should also be key to that factor. Yes, let's talk about the English Premier League. We're starting up with what happened. What happened between Arsenal and Manchester United? Before we go to the other Manchester club, who after so many, they finally, we've been waiting for it. And Austin mentioned something about what if they lose. I'm like, there can't be any if. But we'll run through the result before we come back to the main game, Manchester United and Arsenal. This game usually is always the talk. Then. But now the balance has been... Is there a balance?
No, there's no balance.
There's no balance.
It's tilted to London now.
Okay, tilted to London. Okay, maybe we'll just run through with Arsenal before we go to the screen to reel out all the results of what happened. The quick one, Austin, I mean, this game, we expect to be like maybe... evenly matched, Manchester United having a new manager, and he hasn't lost a game, but he went to Emirates, of course, that's where it happened.
And if you take a look at what's in need for both the teams, before the game was played. You could tell that the Gunners needed to show workings to stay relevant on the league table, particularly if Manchester City, as expected, were going to beat Nottingham Forest. So shout out to the Gunners and the new strategy. Before I get on with that, just to let you know that there are live games in the Premier League as we speak. It's Fulham versus Brighton halftime. Alex Iwobi, Super Eagles player, in the first minute gave Fulham the lead, and they took that lead into the break. 17 minutes in the game between Bournemouth and Tottenham Hotspur, and Bournemouth with a 1-0 lead already. So what are we talking about? Arsenal and the strategies that they deployed for this one. They've had it good over Manchester United over the years, and yesterday wasn't going to be any different. But with the new strategy that the Gunners have now, with set pieces, particularly with the corner kicks, Cecilia, it's like once they perfect it, it's going to be difficult not to concede against Arsenal. So it ended 2-0. Good win for Arsenal, has given them relevance on the league table. But Chelsea also had a fantastic win. Let's listen to Mikel Arteta and Ruben Amorim. Amorim said he didn't know that it was this difficult in the Premier League. You know.
A very special night, celebrating 500 games in this incredible stadium against an opponent with so much history between the clubs and the teams, and the way we played, especially after tweaking a few things for the second half, how dominant we were, how convincing we were, not really conceding, apart from the save of David after a very sloppy throw-in. So a lot of positives. I think we want to be very dangerous and very effective from every angle and every phase of pace. And we work on all of that. Today we could have scored from open play like we did against West Ham, against Sporting. So the team really has that belief that from every angle we have the mentality to just to threat the opponent and to try to score. Today was 2 set pieces. We considering we have 13 corners, so we have to take a lot from it.
If you follow Premier League for a long time, you can see that they are also big players for that, and you can see it in every occasion that Saka and Martinelli has 1-against-1. A lot of times they go outside, they cross. They already know that if the cross is going well, they can score. If it's a corner, they can score. So we have to be better on that situation. But like in every area of our game, we need time to improve also. But you can see in all Arsenal games that every team has problem with that. I think the difference today was the set pieces, because the set pieces you see a goal and then the momentum change, and it's really hard for us to take control of the full control of the game, but we try it, and was that the set pieces.
So that's it. Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim speaking after that. A 2-0 defeat to the Gunners. Damilola, I said the difference was in the set pieces, and I said no. I think on open play also the Gunners did control it. But is this the real welcome party for Amorim to the Premier League?
I think he's welcome now, and now you understand the size of the work that is before him.
He's a dreamer.
And now you must understand that there is a difference between playing Man U, Man City, Chelsea, and playing any other team in the Premier League. Because the more you play some of these top 4, top 6 teams, then you know the real challenge ahead of you. Because these are the teams you want to compete with at some point. So I do not agree with him as well that set piece is the difference. I think Arsenal edged that game. Yes, the first half they gave Arsenal some troubles. You could see that Arsenal were not free-flowing in the first half. But the moment they understood how to come against Man U, Arsenal could have scored more in that game.
Yeah, they could have. Yeah,
Man U were actually fortunate
to escape.
They considered just to.
Yeah, I mean, more Arsenal have actually scored more goals from the corner kick than any other team since last season. 22. Okay, all right. We'll just run through all the. Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. Arsenal, Manchester United, yes, we won't be talking about, ended 2-0 in favor of the home team. Newcastle and Liverpool. I mean, this was the game of the midweek because of how the scoreline were changing until the final minute. It ended 3-0, so Liverpool dropping a point there and Chelsea are closely on their heels with Arsenal followed. Southampton, it was Joe Aribo who scored first, but Chelsea equalized for Southampton. They thought they were going to have something great, but somehow Chelsea, well, I don't know what Chelsea, they eat it, they're in the groove, they're in the moment. It ended 5-1. Manchester City and Nottingham Forest 3-0. Everton and Wolves, I mean, Greg Dawson, I'm sure, I don't know what happened to that guy last night after the loss. He scored 2 own goals. Yes, 2. Aston Villa and Brentford ended 3-1 in favor, of course, of Aston Villa. Only Chelsea won away from home. Quick one, Manchester City. I mean, finally, we've been waiting for Pep Guardiola to try and turn things around, but his players are returning, and of course, they are winning games again. Let's listen to him before we talk about the game briefly.
The club, the players, everyone needed to win, but it's just one game in 3 days. We have Selhurst Park, always have been difficult. The problems continue, but Manu and Nathan, and in general today the most important thing, of course, was the break this routine to don't win games, and finally we won it. Last season was many months injured, this season as well, so I'm so happy he's back, and he fought a lot. He prepared himself to his back and the physicality, and the minutes against Feyenoord was not good, and that's why I decided to play in Anfield for the rhythm they play, but the minutes he played in Anfield was really good, and today he played 75 fantastic minutes.
I didn't have doubts. I think no one in these rooms ever doubts of the quality of City players and their manager, so we knew that we had a hard task ahead of us, but honestly, I must be very honest to myself and to my players. I think we went for it, and we lose. Okay, this always that can happen in football, but to challenge ourselves and okay, yeah, I think that can reflect for the next games. I hope.
Reflect on that. Austin, Manchester City, are they back, or it's just like a blip? Or a ski? Or what is it?
First win after going winless in 7 games. Cecilia, you can't say they are back yet, but maybe they are taking a look at the brain operation to see if everything is fine now. It cannot be conclusive with that win over Nottingham Forest, because remember, we said it on the show that on paper it's expected that City must go all out to win. But let's see if they can keep the consistency. Let's see the sort of mentions they will get in the media in the coming weeks, because that also affects. And of course, remember, we're edging closer to that verdict, to know if Manchester City actually committed those crimes with those charges that they have on them. So with all of those things, it will definitely affect the mental state of the team. Okay. But shout out to Pep and his team. They showed good mental quality in that game against Nottingham Forest, and won that one without stories. But are they back? We can't say that yet, Cecilia.
It's hard to say, right? Damilola, I mean, we saw some changes. Some of the players are back from injuries. So Kevin De Bruyne actually starting the game. Do you think that's the reason for the victory? The players are returning from injury.
I think it's the major cause. I don't think that team suddenly became bad. I think it's just because for a while, some of those players that were even playing were not supposed to be playing because they were not 100% fit, yes. But they had to play them. Don't forget, I think it's what has worked for Pep Guardiola that now worked against him. He had only like a very lean team. Yeah. And so when injury comes, he couldn't call on anybody because this is what he has. And yesterday, I don't think they are back until they win like 2 more. Okay. And the reason is this, that result could have changed if Chris Wood has taken his chance. Yes. At 1-1, you never know what will have happened.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
And 2 more players are injured now.
Should Edison stay more on the bench?
No, I don't think so. I think Edison is still number 1.
All right, let's see what he did against. Was it Feyenoord? Oh, jeez. Oh, my goodness. We don't want to remember that, right? So let's leave the Premier League. Also, will give us more updates. The games currently going on, Bournemouth and Tottenham and Fulham. Of course, Alex will be. Yes, I'm always happy anytime it's I hope he can bring the Alex. It will be deal, right? That's what it's called. at Fulham can bring Iwobidio to Super Eagles of Nigeria. Austin, let's talk boxing. Now, there's a message coming from International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, telling all national federations that if they want to be at the next Olympics, then I'm sure IOC doesn't want to run it because they ran the one of Paris. They don't want to run the one of early 2028. So they are talking to national boxing federations. They should decide if their athletes will make it because they will not accept IBA because IBA, our International Boxing Association, they're yet to, comply with the directive given by IOC in terms of finance, in terms of corruption, so many things they talk about, governance and all whatnot. So that's the story currently going on right now. Boxing and the risk of missing out or what IOC planning to do.
Yeah, but what the International Olympic Committee seem to be saying, Cecilia, they don't want boxing out. They love the following. But they've said, look, we were in charge of boxing at the Paris Olympics. You've given a good background. IOC stripped the International Boxing Association of their rights, and recognition because they failed to implement reforms on governance and finance. Now, there is a new world body called World Boxing that was formed in 2023 and has got 55 members already from 5 continents. IOC is saying, all of you that are not part of that body, go and join now. Let's see if they can actually be the ones that will organize, boxing at the LA Olympics. Let's listen to Thomas Bach. They came out of an executive meeting and he made those comments.
This is in the hands of the national boxing federations, whether they want their athletes to give an opportunity to win Olympic medals or not. It's very easy, and there we see there are some moves with a number of federations. We are watching this, and when the time comes, then we have to make, for any recognition or provisional recognition of any international federation, we have to make an assessment whether there is a federation, and in this moment it looks like that the only who could it be is World Boxing. Whether they are meeting the criteria which we have for such situations, and there to be also very clear, it cannot be IBA.
Damalala, that's it. Thomas Bach was straightforward. It cannot be the International Boxing Association. At the moment, according to him, it looks like it's going to be World Boxing. So Nigeria must find a way to get in there, follow their rules and regulations if they are to compete in boxing in LA.
I think the good thing about what the IOC is doing is that they are saying it early. So you know it's your fault. By the time LA comes and you're not there. And I think for me, it's kudos to the IOC. I like when an organization will come out and set the standard and say, this is what we're going to take, this is what we're not going to take. It's either you're for it or you're not. I mean, what happened in Paris is a precedent, but it's a precedent that cannot continue. Otherwise, every other sport will take them for granted. So they are setting the marker now. And if you're Nigeria and you're not part of World Boxing yet, then find your way to World Boxing before LA. Otherwise, it goes in the... I think what we should be asking now is that where is Nigeria? Where is all these other countries? Otherwise, because the time will come, and then you discover that you have athletes that are qualified, but they cannot go to the Olympics.
Because they are not part of the governing body recognized by IOC. That's a lot, right? Do we have time for track and field? I don't think so. Austin, we got to go.
We got to go, and I have one simple assignment before I leave. Give you updates coming from the Premier League. It's now Fulham 1, Brighton 1. Baleba with the equalizer for Brighton. So Fulham must find a way to get back into this one. Remember, they didn't win their last game. It's now 31 minutes in the game between Bournemouth and Tottenham. And Bournemouth is holding on tight to their 1-0 lead. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
I hope Spurs' inconsistencies will not continue. Yeah, you beat Man City, you lose at Ipswich. That's Spurs for you.
That's Spurs for you.
Thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's nice being here. Let me close by just wishing all our nominees for the CAF Award all the best.
Yeah, all the best to all of them. I hope, we get to bring one home. At least one, yeah? Or many, right? Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Mogbe. Have a good night, right?